You're watching The Pulse with me, Blessed Sogah. Coming up this afternoon, Ghana receives its first consignment of petroleum products assured under the gold for oil deal. The revelation of the governor of the Bank of Ghana as he takes his turn before members of the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament today. We'll get you the very latest and details as the Institute for Energy Security says the consignment received is just 13% of the 300,000 metric tons the country needs monthly. We'll get you more plus analysis on that. The controversy surrounding the National Cathedral project do not seem to be ending anytime soon. We'll be taking you on the latest one as we bring you concerns of the presiding bishop of the Lighthouse Group of Churches, Bishop Dag Mills. It's all coming up here on The Pulse. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities, Digny Lu, Affordable Safe Sanitation. Don't forget that we're on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. This is The Pulse. JoyNews is independent, fearless, and credible. Welcome to the program. We're back with details shortly. Please stay. Well, this afternoon, controversies surrounding the National Cathedral do not seem to be ending anytime soon. This is because more allegations are being made against the handlers of the project. The latest person to add on to these issues is the founder and presiding bishop of the Lighthouse Group of Churches, Bishop Dag Mills. According to the respected preacher, even though he was a trustee and attended all meetings until his resignation, he was not involved nor privy to the discussions on the financial and technical issues surrounding the project. Well, Bishop Dag Mills has been talking a lot. Let's bring you excerpts of a letter he's reaching to the Board of Trustees explaining his reasons why he's leaving office. Quote, it reads that you may recall that I have spoken passionately and reaching extensively about the costs, the design, the location, the fundraising, the mobilization of the churches, and also the role of the trustees. These, if heeded, would have made our project more achievable. Generally speaking, my inputs, my opinions, and my letters have been trivialized and set aside. Also, the Reverend is pointing out a lot more issues. He continues to indicate in that letter that, quote, I am a firm believer in the President's vision in terms of the National Cathedral. I believe that the public can see and is questioning the fact that we've spent almost 6 years since the sword cutting of this project, as well as over 30 million US dollars of public funds to evacuate a massive pitch in the center of the city, he noted. And then he continues to add that, quote, I do believe that many of the questions that are being asked and harried at the National Cathedral project are reasonable and legitimate questions by objective citizens who just want answers to the questions that are being put out there. Well, these are some of the concerns of the revered clergyman, but exactly what will be the implication for the integrity of the project, knowing that this is coming in the wake just days after the North Dome Member of Parliament, Samuel Okudzeto Blakwa, raised some concerns. I want to bring in now Professor Asamoah Gyedu, who's a theologian at the Trinity Theology School. He's joining us on phone right now. Professor Asamoah Gyedu, thank you for your time here on The Pulse. It appears that we've lost Professor Gyedu there. We'll definitely try and raise him shortly, but a lot of issues have come up about this project, starting off with what the North Dome Member of Parliament decided to do yesterday, taking some issues allegedly relating to conflict of interest to SHRAJ, that's the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. It was part of the concerns that was raised, and now we're seeing the latest from Bishop Dag Mills, who is raising some issues that he was equally sidelined when it comes to the financial decisions and other matters. Professor Gyedu, thank you for joining us. And Prof, we're just letting off the latest, the letter to the Board of Trustees. Here's one member of the board raising concerns not just about the location, but also the cost of the project. How is this coming to you generally?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to your listeners. Usually, I find it difficult to make definitive statements on things on which I don't have concrete figures and evidence because I can't, just by virtue of looking at the size of the project on paper, determine that it will cost this much or that much. So my thinking is that if somebody is raising concerns regarding the cost of the project, it would take somebody with the technical expertise to determine whether the country is getting value for money.
But then looking at the personality involved now, earlier the Board of Trustees were raising concerns about how it was persons with political figures that were raising concerns. Now you have one of their own, someone who was part of them raising equally serious concerns. You agree?
Well, I mean, the fact that an insider is raising concerns means that there is something to look at. But, you are dealing with two parties. And so we have to be able to hear from the other side in order to be able to understand where they are also coming from. If we make decisions based on one party's concerns, we may well end up making a mistake. That's why when you take a case to court, we call witnesses. You see, it doesn't mean that the person who brought the matter is lying, but they like to make sure that the case being presented is valid, legitimate, and holds water. So my thinking is the mere fact that an insider has raised concerns means that these concerns ought to be taken seriously. But they don't have to be taken seriously in the court of public opinion. We have to find out what were the exact concerns, what did those who are supposed to respond to the concerns do about it. In any case, what I read in the media says that the letter was leaked. But we haven't heard from the other side. And I'm not a member of the Board of Trustees, so I don't know what has transpired. So my thinking is, if an insider has raised these concerns, let's take them seriously. But let's find out from those who are supposed to address it what they have done or what they intend to do about it.
Public trust in this project itself has come under a lot of questions. I mean, people raising concerns about whether or not we should even continue as a nation. What's your take on that as well?
My take on the concerns that are raised by the public is that any right-thinking government, if you embark on a project and people raise concerns, you have a responsibility to take the concerns seriously. However, we also don't have to assume that because certain members of the public have raised concerns, therefore all the concerns are legitimate. So if I were a member of government, I would have said to the government or the trustees or whoever is in charge to take the concerns seriously and see whether there is something they can do in response to those concerns. But I wouldn't go as far as to say that because of the concerns, the project must be abandoned, because it may have its merit. And it is up to those who are behind the project to convince the doubters as to its validity and legitimacy.
So going forward, what's your expectation of the president and what he needs to do about some of the calls? There are calls that we should dissolve the board in its entirety and change the structure so government can fully take over this project.
Well, that perhaps may make matters worse, because we have been told in the past that this is not an entirely government project. So going forward, I would suggest that we should ask the Board of Trustees to respond to the queries that have been raised, and then we make our judgment based on that.
The donations and fundraisers, of course, we're hearing from Bishop Dag now saying that there's a need to change the approach because after more than 6 years, Ghanaians would have been expecting that the project would be somewhere, I mean, befitting, and yet all we have is quote a pit in the center of the city. I mean, funding is critical now, but he's asking that we change the approach.
Well, I mean, this is one person's opinion. And of course, I know that there are people who have spoken, but the one that has become public is the one that we are discussing. And if issues were raised regarding the location of the project, was that the consensus around the table for those who discussed it? And if we decide that the project is going to be relocated, what happens to the current site? Remember, there were structures there that were pulled down. And we don't want to do anything that will lead to the incurring of further costs. So my thing is, if we will respond to the questions and the queries that are being raised, let's do that. For a project like that, we can never have everybody on board 100%. The most important thing is to be accountable and make sure that the project will benefit the country. So those are the two things that I'll look out for.
Well, we'll have to leave it here, but thank you so much for joining us. That's
Welcome.
Professor Samoa Jidu joining us here on The Pulse. Well, Ghana has received its first consignment of petroleum products assured under the Gold for Oil deal. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, is indicating that some 40,000 metric tons of petroleum products is currently in the storage at Bost. Answering questions before members of the Public Accounts Committee in Parliament, Dr. Addison says the deal will positively impact the petroleum market. But the Institute for Energy Security's IES says the consignment received is just about 13.3% of 3,000 metric tons the country needs monthly. They argue that the quantity cannot make any significant impact on the market. Research and policy analyst with the Institute for Energy Security, Emmanuel Derek Hatcher, joins us live with more on this. So Dennis, help us understand the position of your group. You say that this is woefully inadequate. Why?
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. So basically, looking at 40,000 barrels, metric tons, we think that is quite inadequate because look at the national consumption. On a monthly basis, we consume basically 350,000 to 380,000 metric tons. And so if you're having 40,000 coming in, that is just like 13%. And how would that be able to significantly affect market prices? And looking at availability as well. Moreover, that 40,000, which is just 13%, will not be able to significantly lead the market in terms of pricing. And so basically, that is why I think that it is quite inadequate.
And what more projections are you making about the impact of what we have now on the market?
Okay, so basically, what we're saying is for government to be able to give us gold for oil, we should be able to see a significant input on that or impact on that. Going forward, that should be able to provide almost 50% of the market share. Then that will be able to drive the pricing that we are looking for. And then currently, what we are getting is not also at a discount. We are getting it at a premium. And so if it's at a discount, then we know that, okay, the government can now compete with the BDC. But having it at a premium, then it means there is nothing like a cheaper oil or cheaper crude somewhere that the BDC is going to get access to. And what is the savings to the ordinary consumer? If you are making a savings like almost $45 per metric ton on the ones that have been imported or that has been received so far, then that is just a savings of almost 13 pesos or 26 pesos per liter of fuel. And we think that is basically inadequate going forward. And so if government have something else to do, they should look at increasing that margin, whether we have 40,000, make it 100,000, make it 150,000, then that becomes significant. And then that can drive the prices on the market.
But for now, in terms of the industry players, how should they be helping out now, knowing that at least we have some level of, I don't know if it should be called a subsidized fuel on the market now? What should they be doing about their pricing as well?
So if you talk about subsidized fuel, that is what we are asking. What is the savings with it? And looking at that 13% of the market share, basically that is inadequate to drive any market pricing. Now that 13% that we talk, 13% that we're talking about, on that national level, the BDCs have a lot. You do not have a lot to be able to determine or drive the market pricing. Looking at what you have. So going forward, the government should be able, as a matter of urgency, increase that share of it. If you are not able to increase the share of it, then you cannot drive the market prices. Because we are having deregulation. It's a force of demand and supply. The BDCs will have the money to be able to import. They have it. So the government of the day, you will not be able to drive that pricing going forward.
So what's your expectation from the Energy Ministry and by extension government?
So government, as a matter of urgency, should be able to increase it, not just 40,000. 40,000 is just to supply fuel for just 1 week. That is just 13% 1 week. And so increase the quantity of it, make available means, revive the Temawe refinery so that you can take more of it. If there's any other refinery that can come on board, bring those ones on board. If they're able to refine, even if it is above 50% of the market demand, then it means that going forward, we can have some sort of respite. That will be some savings to the ordinary consumer. But aside that, we do not see any significant changes of these 40,000 metric tons that have been brought onto the market as of now.
Emmanuel, Derek, thank you for your time here on The Pulse. Now, among residents are decrying the rising robbery cases around the Kumasi Children Park Enclave. Residents of Amangrom in Kumasi are concerned about the spike in robbery cases. In recent days, criminals have turned the neglected Kumasi Children's Park into their haven to subject the unsuspecting public to armed attacks. Love FM's Nana Boachi Dankwa Yadom visited the enclave and now reports.
The Kumasi Children's Park at Amekum has been non-functional for over 2 decades. The enclave is overgrown and serves as a hideout for criminals who rob passers-by of their belongings. Residents and others commuting around the park often fall prey to these criminals. So after several years of neglect and inactivity, this is the state of the Amekum Children's Park. The dilapidated Children's Park has now turned into a haven for criminals. Residents want the park to be free of hooligans. Nothing works over here, so we are suffering as a community. There is nothing positive. There are always murder cases.
Community na assemblyman ne committee for na the bia dey yesobre main road no
The main road is where they stand to stop people.
Years ago.
They stabbed one man I know. He was coming from Afokwanta, and when he got down, they quickly rushed him.
He said, "Baby, what kind of kind of betcha? Yeah, Niso, that's the Ubina country. Yeah, I never cost so handy. In fact, airtime. Hunso.
If I show chronology, a dozen were happy, Sebo and numerous.
The criminal cases are enormous. You can't pass here at 7:30 p.m.
Boys too. Omufrimuraimu across so Quanaga soon nam hase. Tiname de care baba kukuta brantain say. And no Gina Quani Vinti, Mijina and a boy pay on the sober train hokra. Copim so moje gas on a bag and no mudimicas and be real bushy has seen.
I witnessed several robbery cases as well. It's devastating considering the schools around.
I'm crying in I'm quite soon echo. Never ni chrono boys in Guhasan, yes, I know. Etete mano enti ha adwen pa enti yesre se omumwana saa kwaye we yin free hamaye
chese eniema ekoso wo Children Park ana yade a ha adwen papa because akromvusam ne awudisam ekoso no edoso even so bi fra kra eba no wo twamu asa nyese bi ebeye watch night ewa ha nipa ni si ya ombetwitwa nse ka agye ne ho niema boy bi kopore ahomache be say 4:30 steps yeso ya omutwitwa no wo ne se kai kun no enu nti no
It's very worrying. You can't pass here at night. They stabbed a student of Kumasi Polytechnic not long ago.
Na so be sori ahomache be anopa no be 5 mu ho be fa de a ewudisem ne koso ko boys no ejinejina kona no woje wade a no na wodwane ato wura nim na wokọ enti ha no de yebesrem yempanimfo ne police mpanimfo so
We would plead with the police to intervene.
Emunya den pa cause ayade a ekun etia oman no so.
Nana Boachi Dan Kwayadom reporting for JoyNews.
And over 34,000 children in the northeast region of Ghana have no furniture. These children carry chairs from home to sit on stones or slum it hard on the bare floor. In the first part of the 4 series titled Ghana's School of Shame, JoyNews' feature editor Jojo Kobina reports the lack of furniture on schools demoralizes children in the northeast.
Are you ugly? Yes. Good. All of you should write. Become what? President, teachers, doctors. Are you ugly? Yes. Okay, good. Be happy.
After over 1 hour and 30 minutes of standing and writing the examinations, he confesses that all did not go well.
Okay, didn't be your mass examiner. Maybe your jelly, but you're not learning can tank ball, elephant calbe, big dark, and look a count and calocus up. Mabucani, Mr. Palace up.
The nearest school to the community is Bintri, which is an hour's drive away and more than 2 hours walk. So Emmanuel and other children endure the harsh realities here. Because he could not express himself well in English, I tried to find out whether he could read.
This book consists of two paper, and well, paper 2, which come free in your annual book, and paper 1 on your objective, tell annual, see paper 2, well learn 1 hour after, which the annual book will be.
So Emmanuel, David just wrote an exam, and I'm just about to read the instructions of the paper that he just wrote. And what he's been trying to read is, this booklet consists of 2 papers. Answer paper 2, which comes first in your answer booklet, and paper 1 on your objective test answer sheet. Paper 2 will last 1 hour, after which the booklet will be collected. Do not start paper 1 until you are told to do so. Paper 1 will last 45 minutes. Emmanuel David is writing the end of term examination, particularly the 3rd term. It's clear that even the instructions for the paper he cannot read. So you can wonder exactly how he will be able to answer these questions. Emmanuel is not alone. Many of his mates cannot read also.
I want to tell my problem. We don't have bleeding and chair. We don't have unit room and toilet room. We don't have teachers. 9 soldiers, 3 teachers. The time that this time the teachers will come, they run away and leave it because we don't have bleeding. They tell that if you have to come to school, you feel lazy because we don't have bleeding.
I say, we are talking for you people are going 10 and 9, but we don't have a school. We come and just stand like that. Where we want to be the police and soldiers and sisters of our officers. Our school there we can be. Do you see? And we want to talk for you people to send for him. Who? Nana, but we have to know. So that if we don't have a school, very professional school, the decent we want new. She's come and do it for us. We don't have a volunteer. Teachers go and collect the 2 people and volunteer to school. We pay for the volunteers.
Many of his mates cannot read also and cannot express themselves. It is looking very grim here. They have just 2 teachers to teach 9 subjects in 3 classes. They have no textbooks. Tapa Mary teaches here. She was posted from Tamale and promoted to the position of headmistress, but she is distressed because of the appalling condition of her school.
I even regretted for coming home because when I was in Tamale I was enjoying. But when I came here, actually, you can imagine that it will come to a time that they will call us for workshops, my assistant and myself. One will go, nobody will be here to take care of the students. I have to give my motto to the one that was wearing white. It's a volunteer. I have to volunteer, give my motto to the volunteer, fuel him to come and be with the students, and we'll go for the workshop. How can 2 teachers teach about 9 subjects? Here they have to contribute for the volunteer because the volunteer cannot come and be teaching without taking something to buy soap. Because of that, to me, I'm just suffering. I do tell my colleagues that this my appointment is a punishment, not promotion.
Apart from JHS 1 and JHS 2, where students carried chairs from their various homes and grabbed chairs from a nearby church, all classes sit on the bare floor, primary 6 to primary 1. Primary 1 and kindergarten study under trees. The hot, sweltering weather mixed with the dry Harmattan winds make life uncomfortable, but the children endure. The lack of basic infrastructure is depressing. A national service teacher, Jamfo Lyndon Tanko, who is an old student of the school, decided to serve the school by coming to teach here. He recalls that the learning conditions in the past were way better than the current conditions.
I studied here for my primary school up to my junior high. I continued my senior high school at Nalergu Senior High School, and I continued my diploma in basic education at Gambara College, UDS Sandwich.
As a crisis, and his reasons are:
it's in a crisis. It's in a crisis of low investment. It's in a crisis of low prioritization. It is in a crisis of exclusion, because a policy arising out of a constitutional mandate, which is supposed to be universal and compulsory, is not universal. It's not compulsory. It is not available to all. And once they are Ghanaian or school-going age,
Well, expect more in the series to come, but let's get more on this. Joining us now is Peter Nochukutu. He's ranking member on Parliament's Education Committee. He's also MP for Akachi North. He joins us for a discussion on this. Honourable, thank you for your time. I'm sure that you've also watched this particular documentary. How is it coming to you? And as the minority in Parliament, what steps do you intend to initiate to try and get some answers?
Pardon me, can you come again?
I'm just asking, as minority in Parliament, what do you intend to do to try and mount pressure for government to act?
On which issue, please?
Well, hello? Yes, I'm just talking about the Ghana School of Shame. I mean, the documentary that we've just aired, a couple of minutes ago. I'm just wondering what the minority side of the House is willing to do just to try as much as possible to get answers.
Hello, sir. If you are asking what minority is doing, if you can get me the main issue that you're talking about because of the network.
Probably we'll try and raise the Honourable Peter Nochukutu back on the telephone lines now, and we'll get some more on this. It appears that we're having some challenges there. Well, here at the Multimedia Group, we actually launched the Classroom project over a year ago as a solution to two of the hundreds of weak school structures dotted across the country. The first project, situated at Breman Jamra in the Esikumado Brakwa district of the Central Region, is currently at the roofing stage and requires more funds for completion. The second project is in the Tolon area in the northern region, with construction yet to start. Over 700 school children will benefit from the project when completed. My colleague Richard Kojonyako visited the Breman Jamra DA Basic School site this morning and comes through with this report.
Years ago, 6 kindergarten kids perished when they wanted to access education. 6 years on, the Multimedia Group decided to take up a project, but the project is at a roofing level. But Kojo, the current structure the students are studying in is in a deplorable state. This very wall, as soon as you hit it slightly, it shakes. And when it rains, the students have to vacate the classroom they study under, and then they run for cover. So they miss classes during the rainy season, and that is why the Multimedia Group decided that we will not allow any untoward thing to happen again before we rush in to report, but rather we are taking some proactive steps in ensuring that the children study under safe environment, under safe conditions. So the students are currently on break. We want to chat with a few of the students to gauge what and how they feel when it rains. What's your name? Your name is what?
Yes.
So which class are you?
Form 1.
Form 1. So tell me about this building. How does it feel studying in this classroom? In the classroom na ewa hadain say esua za oyeden.
Esua de
Enye, adenti na enye.
Say dan ye papa.
Enye papa. Adenti den na wonhu a office dan enye papa. Okay. So it's the students want to tell us a lot more. So let me engage more of the school peoples. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine.
What's your name?
My name is Richard Nyako.
Richard Nyako. Oh, my namesake. You know my name is Richard Nyako as well. Okay. So which class are you?
Form 2.
Form 2. Okay. So tell me about this building you currently study in. I mean, when it rains, what happens?
But say a dining
A dining him. I didn't see a dining him.
say na say in Suba. But say in Suna Eltana a dining a shake.
Sir. Okay, inti se basa na den na moye.
Yeah, do one say in Suna no ya diana ya pop. Ya kwewe. Ti say in Suna tia na ya sansaba.
So we hu de wori sidan foforo bi wa hade. Wa hade. Wo share se de wori sidan en oye hum den. Oye wonder. Na sisi dan wo nwie. Inti eba asem na ebeka ma edan wo ewie. Sisi ase nsupa. Edan hihim nsu no so bo hon classroom.
Acha we catch obi answer. Obi acha obi obetun abo bia. Omba yen see school that.
So this is one of the pupils in this classroom. Let's move to the project that we are talking about, the new project that has reached the roofing level. So this is it. They have provided some kind of materials, but I mean, the strength is not enough to complete the entire thing. And that is why I am here. I am appealing to you. It's my project. It's your project. We do not want to wait any longer for other lives to be perished in the name of accessing education.
Okay, our very own Emefa Etiamwa early is project lead for the classroom project. She joins us now in studio, and Emefa, we've seen the pictures for ourselves, live images of what we've got into. I must first of all congratulate you and the team for the hard work. How did we even get here in the first place?
It's been a long journey. So this was just a little over a year ago that we launched this project. As your intro suggested, the aim was just to solicit support for two communities, one in the central region, the other in the northern region. So they'll be able to put up or fix 2-week school blocks in their community. Right. We have started the one in the central region, which you can see on the screen. So it's at the roofing stage, as you can see. But we need more funds to be able to complete the work. We need money to fix the roof or get the roofing sheets. Yes, we have had quite a number of companies, individuals coming on board to offer some form of support. But then, given where we have reached, and you know how things have become lately, it's been tough. So, as much as possible, whoever can in any way support so that we'll be able to complete the two projects and give it to the respective communities.
So the structure we see on the screens now, just describe that for us. What's this?
Okay, so this is a classroom, 3 classroom units block. It has a library, It has a computer lab. It has a staff common room and a headmaster's office. So, you know, you are going to have 7 spaces in all. It's quite big, and we are using the hydroform technology. It's not the everyday block and mortar kind of structure. This one is a specially mold block. In fact, all of this, we did it on the ground. We didn't have to...
From the site.
From the site. Right. So we needed a special kind of sand to be able to do that construction. And we got it in the community, so we're able to put it together to start the construction. There's been lots of support from the members of the community to put the structure together in terms of communal labor. They were there to support the site engineer in terms of water, in terms of mortar work, in terms of bricklaying and all of that. At this stage that we are, we need professionals to handle the rest of the work, which is the roofing, laying the wood on the superstructure and then putting the roofing sheet on it. That's one you wouldn't just go for any community member to do that. You need a special professional to be able to do that. And that is where we need more help, because it comes at a cost. It means that we are engaging the services of people outside the community. We are talking about the roofing sheets. There's no roofing sheets. They don't produce roofing sheets in the community. Yes, some people have offered some form of support in terms of financial support, but it hasn't been adequate. And as I said earlier, the economy has been tough, so the prices of goods and materials have gone up. And so our projections concerning this project has, if I would say, multiplied. Right. And so in that sense, we need to top up to be able to complete it.
So if any member of the general public wants to support the project now, how do they get in touch? What will be required and what will be the process to follow?
Okay. At the moment, we have a special Momo number, MTN Momo number available for the project. Right. In case you want to do a Momo transaction, you can just send your Momo donations to 059 303 8832. I'll take the number again. Yes. It's 059 303 8832. Either than that, assuming you want to do a bank transfer, you would want to send your transfer to Carl Bank, the Castle Road branch. The account number is 00901 010 54191. Let me take that one too again. So the number is 00901 54191, and that's the Castle Road branch of the Access Bank Ghana Limited. So these two mediums are available for you to be able to, just in case you are not able to get these numbers, I can share. You can also call 0242 161570 for further inquiries. We can always guide you as to what you can do to be able to let your support reach us so that these two communities will be able to complete their structures.
Once everything is in place, how much more time are we likely to see the completion of this project?
So the roofing in itself doesn't take, maximum within 2 weeks we are done. So the structure, we only need doors, and yes, that reminds me, we need, what's the name? Desks.
Okay, as well.
Yes, for the children to sit on to be able to learn. So if somebody can, we need at least 150 pieces. Each class will take 50 pieces of the dual desk. So if you can get 150 pieces, that's it. So within 2 weeks, if we get at least 60,000 Ghana cedis, we'll be able to finish all of that. Then we hand the structure over to the Brema Jamra community. That is the Central Region 1. Right. Yes, exactly.
What will be your final message to our viewers and those who would want to?
I'd say that the project which is ongoing is going to benefit a lot of school children. At least 700 school children are going to benefit from these two projects, the one in the Central Region and the one in the Northern Region. And so we want our children to be in school. The Brema Jamra has a history, and a very bad one for that matter, and we don't want to go back to that. And to avoid repeating history, we are encouraging that as much as you can help, whether in kind or in cash, please do, so that we can provide these safe learning environments for the school children. They are children, yes. You might not live in that community, but why would you want to sit back and watch for us journalists to come and announce to you that school children have been killed in a weak classroom block? We never want to hear that. It's not good for us. So to avert that, let's quickly finish the block for the children so that they will have a safer learning environment.
Right, and that's Elia Tenwa, project lead for the classroom project. You have the numbers on your screen, so you can always reach out to JoyNews for some updates on that. Back to our earlier story where we were talking about Ghana School of Shame. I want to bring in now Peter Nochu-Kutu, who's ranking member on Parliament's Education Committee. He's back on the lines with us. Earlier, I was asking about the story which we heard earlier, highlighting the plight of pupils in the northeast region. I was just wondering what steps you'll be taking as minority in Parliament to try and mount pressure for government to supply the needed resources into those areas.
Yeah, thank you very much. But let me first of all congratulate you and then thank your team for the good work you are doing as far as those two projects are concerned. You have been in the forefront for a very long time now, fighting for such facilities to be provided in communities that they are mostly needed. Congratulations. Yeah, coming back to the situation in those two regions, we have a furniture deficit in a number of schools throughout the country. And it is unfortunate that at this time we should have our children sitting on the floor to write, some putting boards on blocks of cement to write at this time. You know, fundamentally, the provision of furniture in our schools is the responsibility of the district assemblies. Even the provision of classrooms is the responsibility of these assemblies. But because they don't or they are not able to do it, the central government, through GET Fund, has been providing classrooms. So we expect the assemblies to be providing furniture to these basic schools. But they are unable to do so. And I know the Ministry of Education for some time has been doing so. But what is important is that the assemblies should be taxed. We don't have to look up to government because they receive a common fund. Although it is not that much, they can manage and provide furniture for these basic schools. So in fact, it's rather shameful that at this time we should be having that challenge. All the same, I spoke with Chairman the other day when we saw this on your network, and we have planned to meet the minister when schools reopen so that they should put in place a program so that basic schools at least should be supplied with furniture throughout the country, because the assemblies are not living up to responsibilities. So central government or the ministry through GET Fund must take up this responsibility and then get school furniture provided to our schools. So that is the decision we have taken. When Parliament resumes, probably next week or in 2 weeks' time, we will take this as a project and then put pressure. So that in the formula that we will approve before the first quarter of this year for GET Fund, we would like to see substantive budgetary allocation for school furniture in our basic schools.
But then the entire, I mean, this problem is just the least of what's happening in our public schools. So policy-wise, or in terms of legislation, what more can we be doing to ensure an equitable distribution of resources to these schools?
Yeah, one basic discovery we have made is that they put up the classrooms without furniture accompanying it. So we are in talk with the authorities that when you award classroom block, it should be accompanied with furniture. You can't just construct a 6-unit classroom block and leave it like that without furniture. So provision of furniture should be a component of the contract, so that going forward, once you award the contract, you know that at any cost there will be furniture for them, so that you don't take the provision of furniture as a different program or contract, so that we can go forward from there. It is a very, very serious problem everywhere throughout the country. And I'm sure you have gone around the country and you have seen it. We are talking to government, we are talking to the Ministry of Education that they should give more funding to Get Fund. They should remove Get Fund from the list of capped institutions so that when they have enough money, they'll be able to provide furniture and other learning materials to schools. Then this problem of textbooks, furniture, and whatnot should be a thing of the past at this time of our independence and educational development.
Okay, but then you were talking about Get Fund. Get Fund, as we speak, is not in a good shape, you agree, looking at some of the debt obligations that they would have to fulfill. So that puts them equally in a tight corner, you agree?
Yes, Get Fund, as we say now, has a lot of challenges. It has a lot of responsibilities also to perform. But if Get Fund is given all that is due to it, I think they will be able to solve, in fact, about 80% of our problems in the educational sector. In this year's budget, the projected revenue is 4.6 billion Ghana cedis. But what is allocated to Get Fund out of that money is 1.8 billion. So you see that the remaining 2.8 billion, where is it going? And if all that should go to Get Fund, I can tell you they will do a lot for our schools. So that's what we are fighting now, that everything, every person that is due to Get Fund, give it to Get Fund and allow it to manage it and then meet the educational needs of the country. So I am of the view, and as much as the committee is concerned, that leave Get Fund alone out of your capping and realignment policy. Then we see what they can do for education in this country. That is what we are pursuing for Get Fund now, so that they can get enough money, budgetary allocation.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, sir. Thank you for joining us here on The Pulse. And that's Peter Nochikoto's ranking on Parliament's Education Committee. You're watching The Pulse. We'll be back shortly after these messages. And the debt exchange remains the biggest issue in Ghana today as various groups mount resistance to government's plan to include them. The deadline was extended from January 16 to the 31st of January after two previous extensions, I should say. This morning, a confidant of President Akufo-Addo, Gabi Asare-Okyere, has been tweeting in response to the widespread rejection of the government's debt exchange invitation. Well, here's what you have as excerpts of that tweet reading by Gabi Asare-Okyere on your screens now. We'll bring that to you. It indicates that 4 key issues or developments here. 1, government is engaging reps of individual stakeholders. And then 2, there is no credible alternative to the debt exchange program. 3 is that individual bondholders deserve much better protection than the one currently on offer. And 4, there will be some shared pain. That's what he's indicating to us. So how will key stakeholders respond to this call for burden sharing? This afternoon, we're engaging individual bondholders and others on this. You can also send us your WhatsApp message, 055-111-1997, so we can take that up. Harry Kakari Entry is a young Ghanaian who does not have any of these bonds, but obviously he is deeply worried about the current situation. We'll hear from him why. Also, Dr. Eduenchi is, of course, speaking on behalf of the pensioner group, bondholders, and he has, of course, been leading that charge ever since it all started. Doc, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And we always have to ask for updates. We know that the situation is very fluid, so anything can happen at any time. But have we heard from government? Have you been engaged just as we're getting these updates?
Well, the last time that we met, that was yesterday, at a press conference, we indicated that from the press conference, we will go into the ministry to see if we could meet the minister. We went there for people representing the forum went there. The minister was in a meeting. We waited for about an hour and some few minutes. And we realized the meeting was going to take a long time. So a representative of the minister came out to tell us that the minister was deeply engaged and therefore will not be able to meet us. So he picked a copy of the petition and promised that he will use it to follow up and let us know what the situation is with what we have seen. I haven't heard from, he took my number, I haven't heard from them.
So that was the last time?
Yes, that was only yesterday.
So if we're hearing that there's going to be an engagement, do you suspect that this may be happening with some other groups?
Yes, that's what should happen once the ministry has, the minister has now come out to say the extending the period to make room for further engagement. Then that's what is likely to happen.
Harry is also on with us. Harry, you say that you're concerned about this situation, although you do not directly hold any of these investments. Why?
And I hope my voice is clear enough.
I can hear you.
Thank you. It is a very worrying situation, and every Ghanaian must sit up and then tell the government that what they are doing with people's finances must be looked into. You have even the majority leader talking about it. You have the whip talking about it. You have minority. Both bench in parliament are talking about it. And the government doesn't seem to listen. When I say government, I'm talking about the executive arm. President Akufo-Addo and the finance minister, they don't want to listen. And whatever this is going to happen, it is going to have a trickle-down effect on every individual in this country. It is a conversation not just about people who hold bonds, but if my uncle, my grandmother, my grandfather, anybody who has money in bonds, the banks, the insurance companies who have monies in bonds are going to be affected. We will all bear the brunt of that. And so it is a wide stake consultation that the government needs to do. And some of us, young people, we feel like the government is not listening. They are not opening up to individual consultation. They are not opening up to stakeholder consultations. And it is very worrying because just like the way they did with e-levy, they are doing the same with this situation. And young people must resist at all costs. It is not going to happen. It is crass. It is insensitive on the part of the government, and we will resist it at all costs.
So, for you, what's the best alternative you feel government could be approaching this on?
So there should be a wide stake consultation. Engage the labor unions, the businesses. There should be transparency. There should be a sit down. Look at how the former government did theirs with the IMF program. It was a wide consultation. Everybody was involved. There should be burden sharing. You can't have 4 children and then expect two to feed you and then leave the rest. There should be burden sharing. And before the government even sits on the table to negotiate, they say that there is no negotiation if one party is not willing to shift its original post. Before they even come to the negotiation post, they should tighten their belt. You can't be living large and luxurious and expect Ghanaians to pay for that. We are not going to accept that. They should cut down on discretionary items and expenditure. It is too much. Look at the number of people that are being employed and they are not doing anything. Ministry, some institutions have 5 directors, 4 deputies. It's a lot. What is the government doing about it? Their expenditure is too much. It is like somebody has borrowed money from you and he's coming to tell you that I can't pay. But when he's coming, he's sitting in a Range Rover and the AC is full on. And he's sitting in the car and then through the window, he's telling you, well, I can't pay you, so whatever you want to do, that's none of my case. That is exactly what the government is telling us. They need to come down from their high horses and listen to the plight of Ghanaians.
Dr. Hedu, let's expand that issue, the issue about cost sharing. Gabi says you must share the pain because the alternative is quite dire for all of us. Have you been thinking through that option as well? The need to make some concessions, and what are you willing to concede?
Yes, I believe we must all share the pain. But we don't share pains with already vulnerable people. whatever pains need to be shared, those who are capable to bear must bear. In every society, there are vulnerable groups. And I like it when Russia was calling people to go and fight. Did they call the people who are sick and old and in their house? No. The young ones. The elderly has played their part, their role. It is now left onto the young ones to do that. Just as when we are in the house, something comes, we tell, oh lady, sit down, we shall do it. Basic principle. You can't burden the already impoverished and vulnerable group. So, burden sharing is okay that people share, but people will have to share a burden that they can bear. If an old man, something is happening, and you call an old man to help you push your car, after he just attempt to push, he will fall down and die. You don't call the sick person to come and push your car. You call somebody who has the strength. So all that we are saying that, yes, burden sharing, fine, but look at some group that you think these people cannot bear that cost, and so we would exempt them from the sharing.
So you're willing to make some concessions?
If we see what government is willing to do, and we are not the only group, if government can exempt the vulnerable group and then negotiate with the others, the able-bodied people who can bear the burden, everybody would be happy. At least the elder ones will be encouraging the young ones to come up and help. It is time for you. I've now used that. They say, "Yana assassini." Now, a Drew Mene was the me is not the old man. If you say a Drew Mene was, he's not referring to the old man who cannot sometimes even come out of the room to see sunlight. What is he going to do? It is me, those who are able-bodied and have strength to continue, the people that the son is referring to. That a Drew Mene was also. The rest are there just to motivate it. Give us advice and do that. But if it comes to burden sharing, they are incapable of helping.
Your membership, is it growing by the day? Do you get more and more people coming to you asking so many questions?
The membership is growing, even though we cannot get everybody on board. Right. We are representing the whole Ghanaian population of pensioners. In every corner of the country, there are pensioners. You can't reach them. Even Accra here, we can't reach all of them. But at least as of now, we have reached more than 400 people that have been put on the platform. That's why it's just basically to have discussion, because one man should not be taking the decision. We are acting for all this number of people across the country. But at least if we get a sizable number to take those decisions on behalf of others, it's a better way than maybe 4 or 3 people deciding for the rest. So at least it's growing, and now we have over 400 people.
We've seen some activities in the last few hours. You went to the overlord of the Ghana State. Was that what?
We haven't been there.
Okay, so that's Lawyer Martin Pebbles' group.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you're joining some of these activities, because they announced that they may be moving to for the Finance Ministry to pick it there. They may be taking a number of actions. How are you, joining forces in that regard?
So we have also, yesterday, at our press conference, we said that if we don't hear any positive thing from the government by next week, which is Monday, 23rd or so, Monday, we are going to the Ministry of Finance and stay there until he gives us audience. What we have, the police, if we are asking for this, we have to give them time. And the elderly people are also saying we can't go and stay there for any long time. So we have written to the police that we will report there at 9 and we will leave there at 12, by which time we think the minister would have met us. I have the belief that if these elderly people come in their wheelchairs and whatever, drop there, and 50 of them, they say, 50 of them are sitting there, say, please, we have come, we want you to meet our leaders and talk to us and give us assurances that we are not going to be involved. I believe the minister will not even like that for people who can pass, they pass, not that can pass, to be the father, the mother, to come and congregate there and say, I'm not going to have a meeting with you. You can stay here, and if you are tired, you can go. I don't think the minister will want that to happen. So we have done that and waiting that we believe we will be called before that time. And again, at the time that we planned this, the extension hasn't come. So we thought the minister didn't have enough time, but now that it has been extended, maybe that is why, because of the difficult schedule is having, he has not been able to meet us. And he may be able to meet us within this week that we are hoping. But for the chiefs, it's a letter. Yeah. Ours, we send it to the National House of Chiefs.
Oh, you've done that as well?
Yes, we have distributed letters to the National House of Chiefs, the Chairman of Peace Council, the Speaker of Parliament, Catholic Conference Center, Christian Council, Muhammad, the Chief Imam, Pentecostal and Charismatic. We have covered all those. Those that we found about 7 institutions that are key in our governance. We have submitted the copies of the petition and letting them know what we are doing and telling them that they should also be involved and ensure that these things are done.
Okay, I need to indicate very quickly that if you're sending us a WhatsApp message, what you need to do is to try and make sure that you add your name when you send us that text. But Harry, you're still on with us. Harry, you say that we shouldn't let this fight to just be a fight for those who are the individual bondholders. Why should we be joining if we, quote and unquote, do not have any investments there?
So, what is going to happen if this proceeds is that the GDP rate of this country in this year is not going to exceed even 2%. We are going to have less demand. We are going to have less production. There will be fewer revenue. There will be fewer imports. And when that happens, people will pay less tax. It means that there's going to be a drop in government revenue. When that happens, government can't spend more. People may not be able to get paid on time. And if my father, my mother is a civil servant, already they are not even being paid on time, and this happens, it is going to give us a lot of problems. As I said, it's going to be a trickle-down effect. On the other hand, if all these things happen as well, and I am a son of a farmer who is expecting money from pension, my father needs to pay my fees. If money does not go through pension to my dad, how am I going to get my fees paid? And so it's not just about those that are holding bonds. It is about every individual who depends on somebody. A lot of young people in this country depend on a lot of people because there are no growing jobs. People are not getting employed. Young people are on the streets. And so every day somebody needs to feed them. And so it is going to have a mass action effect on young people in this country. And that is why we are going to resist. The government needs to sit down with everybody, with bondholders, with insurance companies, where banks have about 50 to 65% of their money in government treasuries. And if that happens, some banks have started even laying off workers. Insurance companies have started laying off workers. And it's going to have a trickle-down effect. I don't understand why the government wants to push this down the throat of Ghanaians without sitting on a round table to digest the issue and find a proper solution to it. And if that doesn't happen, as I said earlier, young people are going to resist it. It's not just going to be about bondholders. No, it is going to be about the future. Look, let's take it very seriously. 20, 30 years from now, Akufo-Addo may not be alive. Kenneth Weata may or may not be alive. But a 5-year-old sitting somewhere is going to have a ripple effect on that kid. Or the young girl in the school in Legon, in the University of Ghana, or in KNUST, is going to benefit from whatever decision we take today. And so all these people must have a say in policy formulation in this country. We can't just hand over our destinies to a kind of Reata and Akufo-Addo and sit down and expect them to make decisions for us, even when the decision doesn't help future generation. We are going to resist it. And so I am sending a word of caution to the government. They should sit down with the necessary stakeholders. We should find a workable solution to our debt situation. This is not a workable solution.
And so for now, in terms of the activities that we've seen, the civil activities such as picketing the petitioning of some officers, Do you feel that a lot more needs to be done in that regard?
A lot more needs to be done. I'm learning that the individual bondholders will be going on a demonstration soon, and we are going to mobilize young people to join them. We will make it happen. If the government is not willing to sit down and listen, we'll make it a global issue. See, until the IMF structure or the program we are going to seek in IMF, until the good people of this country accept it, it is by default a no-no. IMF is not going to work with the government, even if the people are saying no. And that is why it is good for the government to sit down with everybody. If IMF realizes that the individual bondholders, the insurance company, the banks are crying, they are not going to give any money to the country. And so they should get up from their high horses, come down, and then negotiate. Move from the position that they are standing as though they pick a phone and then they make things happen. No. Come down to the people, sit down, negotiate. If not, it is going to be ungovernable for all of us in this country in this year. I'm telling you, we won't accept it. Period.
Well, let's take some of the messages coming through on WhatsApp. You have that on your screens right now. This one says, including individual bondholders into the debt exchange program amounts simply to subjecting them to economic agony and years of untold hardship. The government should understand that the lives of people are at stake here. Government should really not be insensitive to the cries of the ordinary Ghanaian who have insured themselves through these bonds. Then this one continues to read that, isn't it a good move at all that will rather end up crippling the country or our economy? Well, I'm not so clear with that. And this one continues to say that my money is at EDC, which forms part of the corporate bonds. I'm losing 11,000 cedis without any wrongdoing. A poor police officer like me. This government is a disaster. 2024 is just in the corner, and that's coming through from Gideon from Akwafu. What at all does this government take us for? They behave like they elected themselves to power, but not the people. May we be saved from this hardship, and that's coming through from A.A. Bello in Techima. Of course, Doc, the political angle always comes up. What will you do if this persists and in 2024 as pensioner bondholders, would you threaten that, well, we are voting against you if you don't listen to our plea?
No, I think every individual has his own
political preference.
Even if you are in your house, for those of us who have kids still 18 and 19 taking care of them, you can go and vote for a particular line, your child will go and cancel it. So as for that, for voting, each one has his own preference. So we don't want.
But what's just paramount to you is that the government must indeed and listen to you.
It's right. We all want the program to succeed. There's no two-way about that. Countries have done that. They have succeeded. People got overwhelming support, 100% you can get. It is when you have negotiated it well. People, you owe people, you can't pay, you go to the people, you talk to them. This is all that I can do. They accept. Yes, we see that going forward, we can't enjoy the things that we're enjoying because you have gone through this problem. And they agree, and you come out with that package. Everybody signs on, and then we move. So that is all that we are saying. And now that the minister has said they are pausing and coming to do further consultation, we believe it will be called together. My suggestion is that all the parties should be called together at a point so that you can see the linkage. If you call one person and you deal with that person and call another party and deal, you are not getting the linkages. You realize that, oh, if this was the case, then I shouldn't have done this to this group. But if you all meet, you are able to see how it's linking. The insurance people are there, the Securities Industry Association is there, the Bankers Association is there, individual bondholders are also represented, and we are there. These key people are there, and we talk. Then anything that we discuss and we approve of or we agree to do, everybody's interest has been taken. The national interest is taken, individual interest is taken, and we come to a middle way, and we can move on.
How about the argument of time, that time is not on our side? We've heard that argument. Yesterday I was speaking to Ranking on Parliament's Finance Committee, Dr. Kisela Tufos, and he says, well, our IMF program is in jeopardy.
Well,
yeah, so further engaging you may rob government of some time, isn't it?
Well, we don't know. The IMF have said if we don't come out with this on certain dates, we are pulling out. We haven't heard that.
All right.
But even if we have heard that, the people who are managing the process can quickly come, as they have said, giving themselves up to the end of this month is enough for government to meet these key parties and resolve the matter. I believe everybody, the insurance people have their own problems. They will put their consent on the table. The bankers will put, the Securities Market Association people will put, we the individuals also will put that maybe we are saying for the pensioners, let them go. But there are still some individuals who are also holding bonds. What should be done to them? So if we talk, everybody's concern is taken. We will by all means get to a point where everybody says, well, I've taken some, I've given out some, so bring out a new invitation for me to accept. We will get there. We will succeed.
You're hopeful?
Yes.
Harry, your final thoughts on this?
Thank you very much. You know, how we managed to get here was because the government kept borrowing and financial experts, journalists, and everybody in this country continued to tell them that what they are doing is going to put us in a difficult position. Now, we lack credibility. We need IMF to make us look clean so that we can go back and borrow again. You see, the problem is that even after this whole IMF program, they are still looking at going into the capital market to go and borrow more. We need a long-term solution to our problems in this country. A pragmatic solution, not just I need 8 billion from bondholders, squeeze it, bring it, whatever you are going to go through. I don't care. I need the money to go and enjoy my luxurious lifestyle. And so the government needs a long-term plan, not just squeezing people from their savings because you have the big shoulders, you can bully them around. No, we are not going to allow that. And so please, this is just to the government. Sit down with the people. We voted you into power. We have a mandate, and you have to deliver to the good people of this country. From now to 2024, sit down with the people. Let them know that you messed up. You are going to come clean, this and this and this. You failed the good people of this country, but now you need them. And so how can you help me fix the mess I created as a government? That is the only way, so that the people out of their heart appeal to people's emotion. You don't bamboozle people and take their own money. That is not how things are done. And so, yeah, we expect the government to sit down with the people, the bondholders, the individual bondholders, the institutions, the banks, the insurance companies, and have a broad stakeholder consultation so that we can have a solution, a pragmatic plan to all these effects. Until then, it is going to be back and forth, and we are going to resist it at all costs.
Let's give the final words to Dr. Edu as we wrap up on this.
Yeah, once the minister has extended the invitation period, we believe we will do a genuine consultation and negotiation so that we will come out with a package that will be acceptable to all.
Doc, thank you for joining us here on The Pulse, and also to you, Harry. Well, 7 people are currently in the grips of the Tamale police for their alleged involvement in a recent clash in Buipe. The 7 who were arrested in Damongo will be put before court on Wednesday. Early last month, the enskinment of the Fulani chief in the area by the Buipe Lana, that Abdullahi Jinapol II, led to some agitations amongst the youth. Yesterday, an arrest of the youth leader led to a clash between the youth groups and the police who demanded his immediate release, leading to the clash between the police and some other residents. So far, 7 people have been arrested and will be put before court. Will be live shortly in the area. But first, listen to the Buipe Wura Abdullahi Janapo, who has been calling for calm in the area.
Based on the recommendation and roadmap from the committees established to ensure peace in Buipe, I, Buipe Wura Janapo, wish to state unequivocally that the earlier appointment of Ibrahim Musa Buri as the Fulani leader in Mande is annulled and stands reversed. Meanwhile, a new Mande chief in the name of one Abdullah Alassane has since been installed and has taken fully in charge of the service called Mande.
Let's get more from Savannah regional correspondent Isaac Nonya. Isaac, just bring us up to speed with what's happening. I mean, what's the atmosphere now in Pipe and Damongo as we speak?
The moment Damongo is relatively calm, and the accused who were moved to Tamale yesterday were put before court today. We are told that out of the 7, they were able to get an additional person, bring the number to 8, and they were put before the Tamale Circuit Court, charged for 2 counts. One for rioting, and the second, unlawful damages to properties in the area. And in court, the prosecutor said that the accused person were able to burn down 15 houses and able to also pull down some of them. And once they were asked to remain in police custody, the counsel for the accused persons tried to seek for bail for them to go and come back on the 20th of this month, which will be Friday, but the prosecutor didn't allow that because they will be tampering with some evidence that they're still following up, because they say in court that they're still trying to get some of their colleagues who are currently on the run.
Do we know the identities of those who have been picked up so far?
Yes, visibly we were able to make some of them up. But their names, the police are very economical with their names. They don't want to put them out there to the public because they don't know who and who is around or who is not there. Remember yesterday, before they got to Tambale with the accused, there was a problem along the line, and it resulted in the death of somebody who happened to cross over the roadside, and the police, the vehicle carrying the accused person, ran over him, and they have to deposit the body in the Damongo mortuary and proceeded with the accused person to Busunu. Thankfully, the military were there to help the escort till they got to Tambale. And today, this morning, they were put before the Tambale Circuit Court and a charge for rioting and unlawful damages to properties in Bupe.
How are reports that there are underlying issues here?
Truly so. The information on the ground revealed that months and a year ago, there have been a lot of issues surrounding the chieftaincy, land, and what have you. We came across somebody who said that he has a land dispute, but the way the matter was handled, they felt that it was not fine. Another person also felt that there are issues regarding land that they have with another party, but they feel that they have given the wrong deal. So the mandate issue is just a trigger. If you listen to the RESEC chairman who spoke to us in the morning, it's just a trigger of a larger issue that's on the ground. And it will take the whole house, the Savannah Regional House of Chiefs or the Gonja Traditional Council, to sit down and unravel all the issues and bring the parties involved to see how they can get solution to it. Until that, after the Mande case, they may pull out one of the issues that are underlining and then bring it out on board again, and that may find another issue like this one.
Well, Isaac, thanks for giving us that update, and as and when we have more, we'll bring you in our subsequent bulletins. The General Secretary of the NDC, that's Fifi Kweti, says the party will not surrender the Ashanti region, touted as the stronghold of the ruling New Patriotic Party. He believes that much more depends on the Ashanti region if the opposition NDC is to achieve its must-win 2024 agenda. There's more in this report.
The MPP has predominantly amassed votes in the Ashanti region during general elections, but in recent polls, the NDC has marginally increased votes in the region. The opposition party says it is leaving no stone unturned to increase Ashanti votes to significant numbers. The NDC General Secretary Fifi Kote says the party will take advantage of the populated 47 constituencies to regain power in the 2024 general elections.
Ashanti is important because Ashanti has 47 constituencies. Ashanti is the most populated region as far as the country is concerned. So if you want to win an election, you have to make sure you do what you can to get as many votes as possible in Ashanti region. And we are going to make sure we have a good chance of getting as many votes as possible in 2024 in Ashanti region. We are not going to surrender Ashanti region at all to MPP. We believe we have the capacity of getting far, far more votes than we have at the moment. We are going to make sure everything is done to make sure that happens.
The NDC National Chairman Johnson Aseedun Ketia led a team to the Ashanti region to address issues that happened during the NDC's internal election. Some party elders, including Kofito Tobi Kwache and retired Larry Govlolati, and aides regional chairman, were part of the delegation. Fifi Kote says the party was first considered in the reconciliation exercise because the region means a lot to the party. According to him, the party will announce its next line of action, the Ashanti Reconciliation Tour.
You must appreciate that the regional executives are in charge of this region. And we've also brought along the Regional Council of Elders. So as far as this region is concerned, they are in charge of the region. We've come from the national level to simply assist the process. So effectively, that's about as complete as possible. So once we have the national executives here, and we also came along with some of the members of the National Council of Elders. So you could see clearly that we have everything set up to make sure that what needs to be done as far as the Ashanti region is concerned has been done. Yeah.
So how many regions have you done so far with this one?
Ashanti is the first one. Ashanti is the first one. So basically, that tells you how important Ashanti is in our calculation to make sure that all the issues relating to friction, divisions are resolved, properly reconciled. Then we'll be able to move forward towards 2024, knowing that the very important region of Ashanti is prepared to be able to do that job. Yeah.
So are you going around all the 16 regions, or we have some selected regions?
We'll be announcing the next line of action, but for now, Ashanti is the first one.
Ewuko Malik's report, read to you.
And that's all we have for you here in The Pulse. For more, log on to myjoyonline.com for updates. I'm Blessed Sogah. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye for now. Next.